Have you ever felt like you wanted to disappear into the background because of your skin? Like if no one looked at you, maybe it wouldn't hurt so much. That was me for years, and that's exactly what we're going to dive into in this episode. Hey lovely, I'm Tabby, a skin health specialist, author and soft life girly helping sensitive souls feel confident in their skin again through my skin triangle method. Here we talk all things skin, nervous system healing, and the slow, gentle lifestyle shifts that actually last. So grab a cup of tea, get cozy, and let's dive in. Hi everyone, and welcome to today's episode. So I wanted to talk about this specifically this week because this week is the week that I officially become a published author. It's just crazy to say that. But my book, Unmasking Acne, is being published on the 15th of September 2025. So we are literally days away. I feel like there needs to be when you watch those movies where there's like people are trying to escape from prison, there's like really loud alarms and everybody's like running around on like the yard. That is how it feels right now. It's like alert. Like my book is being published. It's a little bit crazy and it's brought up a lot of things for me. So I definitely wanted to dive into that today because there is just so much front and centre in my brain. And I think it's important that we have these discussions because if we don't have these discussions, who is going to? So I want to start right back when I first got acne for the first time. So this was approximately at 13 years old. To set the picture for you, I was in secondary school. I was always really shy in school anyway, and all of a sudden I had gotten really severe acne. It felt like it came on overnight. I'm sure it didn't. I'm sure it was much slower in reality, but it was severe acne. It was nodules, it was cysts, the most severe acne you can get, those really harsh, painful under the skin lumps and bumps, and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrific. It was really painful and I felt so incredibly insecure in myself, in my skin, and I really just felt so stuck because I just didn't understand how to help myself, and it seemed like anyone I talked to about it didn't understand how to help me either. Not even doctors, not even, brand representatives at big beauty stores, like nobody knew what to do because it was so severe. It wasn't just like your usual like spot, and it was really frustrating. And of course this unfortunately came with bullying. So I did start getting bullied quite badly in school because obviously I looked so different from everyone else now. I had the severe acne that people weren't necessarily used to. It looked a lot different than normal spots, and yeah, it was really horrible, and I hid myself a lot. Like I tried to cover my face with my hair a lot. I'd try and wear my hair down a lot, even though I'd really started liking it up in ponytails. I tried to cover it in full thick makeup. A few times I was called up on this at school, but thankfully was let go because I'm sure that they saw that it wasn't, it was a need. It was trying to make me feel better. There was clearly something going on. And I definitely felt a really prominent fear of being seen. And it trickled into every single aspect of my life, even beyond school as well. And it got to a point where I got really severe anxiety. My attendance dropped. I was even called in to see, the head teacher because my attendance was that abysmal. And it was such a horrible time for me. And unfortunately, that fear of being seen didn't just disappear. It didn't just disappear. And I think a lot of us kind of expect that when we kind of get to the end, in quotes, of our skin journey, because we never truly end it, but when we get to the result that we're wanting, we expect that result to hold like this magical key. It unlocks this door, and all of a sudden we get every single thing that we thought we couldn't have while we had acne. So when we get to clear skin, we expect to be able to go out and feel free and not have people judge us, not have people staring. We expect to feel beautiful, we expect to feel confident, we expect to immediately be able to leave the house without makeup on. And that really isn't the reality for a lot of us. And it can be so incredibly frustrating when we get to that point and we still can't do those things, which is why it's so important to be able to give ourselves permission before we get the results that we want to start working on our inner critic, because otherwise you will end up like me and you will get your end result, because it is inevitable when you help yourself. And you will sit there and you'll think, oh my God, I still don't feel better. What do I do now? And that can be such a heartbreaking moment that so many of us face. And yeah, it is really, really hard. And fast forward this to these last few months for me. And thankfully over the years, that fear of being seen, it's been more in the background. It's never fully went away, because I don't think it is something that fully ever does go away. Our history lingers with us even when we've worked on ourselves and improved our lives. It can still linger in the background, and it kind of just stays there for a while, and then something happens and it resurfaces, and then it's for us to work through again and to help ourselves through again. And I think that is just the reality of life, or at least that's my impression of it. But obviously these last few weeks have been a little bit crazy for me. Very, very crazy. And as I'm recording this, it is the day before I'm about to do my first ever live radio interview, which is just the craziest thing. I've been manifesting that since February of this year, and here we are, September. It's magically happening tomorrow. We love this. But of course, these last few months and me publishing my book, it's came with so much of that being seen. So I, of course, did a photo shoot for the cover of my book, and it turned out really well. And I absolutely love the front cover of my book. I think it's really beautiful. I think it looks really professional, and I think we did a really good job to say that we were on a very big budget. I set up my professional camera that I still had from my photography degree, and I made my mum take a bazillion photos, bless her heart, and then I edited them all on Photoshop, changed the colours and things. And doing that photo shoot, stepping in front of the camera, it brought back so many insecurities for me. And that was the first moment recently where I really had to take a step back mentally and be like, oh, okay, this is resurfacing again. What am I going to do to help myself through this? Because I know it's only going to keep getting harder the more that I push it down. And even though the photo shoot came out pretty good, and I am happy with the result of it, that whole few hours while we were doing the shoot, I felt miserable. I felt so insecure. I felt like everybody on that beach was looking at me, even though there was barely anybody there. And of course they were looking. It's not very often you go on a beach and you see someone having a full-on photo shoot in a really elegant dress, But I felt so afraid, as if being seen was gonna do something really horrible to me. If it was gonna cause the end of the world for me. And when we look at it logically, it isn't that scary, but I think it's just the underlying anxiety of what that could mean in the worst case scenario. And yeah, that photo shoot, even though it's such a core memory now, because it's that's the photo shoot of my first ever published book, and that is what's on my book forever now, and it's a gorgeous photo and all the rest of it. And that's actually one of the last photos we took on that photo shoot as well. It was a last minute, ooh, I want to take some photos by this rock, should we do it? We're really tired. My mum's hands were aching because that camera weighs a ton, and she was like, yeah, if you want to, we can just fit it in. And we did, and that ended up being the cover of the book, so thanks, mum. But yeah, so after that shoot, we drove back home. It was about a half an hour drive home from the beach, and my mum was driving, and I felt so miserable. I felt absolutely horrible, and I've got a video of myself and I literally look so unhappy. I look like I'm gonna cry. And that was just because every single thing that happened during my school years, when I was bullied, when I was hiding my skin, where I felt so insignificant and undesirable and beautiful, that all surfaced for me. It was like, oh my god, what am I doing? Why am I putting myself out here? Why am I why have I decided to put myself on the front of this book? Couldn't I have just like wrote on the front like unmasking acne and like a nice font and like maybe put some clouds around it? No, I had to put myself front and center because I'm such a Leo. I just couldn't help it. And I had so many doubts. And then for the next like 4 days, I had to edit that photo shoot, which meant I had to sit there and analyze myself for the next 4 days. I looked at every insecurity, which I definitely feel like magnifies with a camera as well. And I was just like, oh my god, like I hate how I look. I hate this. I don't feel good. I just didn't feel like it represented how I feel about myself. Like deep down, I'm like, I know, like, you know, usually I wake up and I'm like, oh yeah, like I feel beautiful today. But I literally looked at those photos and I never felt so disconnected from my own appearance. And I was like, here we go. And yeah, that moment was a lot. That week was a lot. And obviously from that point on as well, obviously I've gotten like more press, which has been so incredible and I'm so grateful for. And I was recently in the Gazette. I got interviewed, and yeah, I got an article written about me in the Gazette, which is actually my second article in the Gazette, and that brought up so many insecurities. When it came out, I was like, oh my god, no. And I felt nothing but dread when it should have been such like an exciting moment. But the first time that I was written about in an article for obviously like my skin story, it was the first article was about me like being put up for an award, and it kind of talked a little bit about my skin story from acne to going on medication to clearing it, blah blah blah. And that first article got so many horrible comments written under it, and I knew that because I was putting myself vulnerably online to an audience that wasn't necessarily mine, because obviously I don't have control over who sees that. I kind of just like gets put out to their audience, and I guess that's the whole point, right? But yeah, I felt terrified when I woke up that morning and I was like, oh, the articles went live. Oh, and I did get a few mean-spirited comments. In fact, one of them was like, you look better before, and it was a before and after of me having clear skin. One was when I was 13, one was when I was 23, and I was like, you think I look better when I was a 13-year-old? Okay. But I did get a lot of mean-spirited comments, not as many as the first article did, thank God, but it definitely brought me down a little bit, and I was like, yeah, I really need to get on top of this. I really need to start helping myself a little bit more. And obviously with me going on the radio tomorrow, I'm just repeating that process again. It's constantly like I'm being seen at the moment, like I'm constantly pushing myself so much to get out there, to promote this book, and to do things that make me feel a little bit uncomfortable. And I'm such like a go-getter, like I will do it regardless of how it's going to make me feel. Like that is like not even something that would stop me, but it does make me feel not great sometimes. And I've definitely had to kind of build like a toolkit for myself regarding this, because dealing with this can be so difficult sometimes. And I hope that what I'm about to share with you about these tools is going to help you too. Because nervous system regulation is something that as a society we don't really talk about very often, and we really should be, because if we taught kids in school how to better regulate themselves, how to pay attention to their feelings, their thoughts, and then how to calm their nervous systems, I think as a society we would be a lot more calmer and a lot more happier. And it's frustrating that we spend so much of our lives in dysregulation when we could be teaching kids from a very young age how to do this, and they grow up and it becomes second nature to them. But that doesn't mean you're a lost cause, because now is the best time to start. Because if you wait till tomorrow, that's another day that goes by where you could be feeling better in yourself, you could be regulated. And also, massive thing here, nervous system regulation helps give you healthier skin. So if you're dealing with inflamed skin right now, or you're just not where you want to be with your skin right now, calming your nervous system could be the key when nothing else has worked. So let's dive into my little toolkit that I've been doing to kind of help myself feel better and regulate myself after being seen and before being seen, and just about this whole situation. So my first one is EFT. So EFT is emotional freedom technique. It is tapping. And it's basically where you tap on your pressure points. It's a form of acupressure, and you basically just go through and you say affirmations while you tap, and it basically helps regulate your nervous system. Obviously, that's the whole point, and also just helps dispel all of that energy that you don't need to carry around with you, and it makes you feel so much better in yourself. And also, the more you yawn, the more energy that's kind of getting rid, I would say. It is absolutely amazing. I do this every single morning, and it's become such a habit for me that I know that's going to make me feel better as I go through the day, and I know that deep down I deserve to feel better, and that's what motivates me to be doing it every single day. Because if you stop yourself from doing these things, you have to really pay attention to the why. Why aren't you doing these things? Do you not love yourself enough? If not, why? You are worthy of being loved. You're worthy of loving yourself and being kind to yourself and giving yourself care. And you should be starting that as soon as possible, because you deserve to feel better. You deserve to feel loved. And you deserve to give that to yourself before anything else, because you need to be regulated, calm and happy to spread more of that into the world. So by helping yourself, you're helping other people. Glad we've covered that. So tapping is one of those things that I first found out about from Denise Duffield-Thomas, who is one of my business coaches. She is absolutely phenomenal. If you've not seen Denise in the world, definitely go check her out after this. She is just such an inspirational person, and I just love her to pieces. But tapping is definitely one of those things I recommend that you try. And it does take consistency, because anything that worthwhile stays and helps you in the long term has some form of consistency. That is just the case. Even when you're working out, if you don't work out consistently, it's not going to get you those results that you want. Obviously, one time it's gonna, make you feel more energetic, happier, etc. But if you're wanting results, you stick with it, and that's exactly the same with all of these things. So I actually have some tapping scripts that you can tap along with me on my YouTube, Tabitha Isabel, where you can literally watch me tap and you tap along with me, and it's specifically for different things. I've got one on acne, one on skin confidence. I can't remember what else. There is a few over there, and I'll be putting more out there in the future as well. So the next thing is breath work. So actually just doing box breathing, just taking a moment to regulate yourself, to just sit with your breathing, to pay attention to the feelings in your body. That can really help you regulate, and that is such a really easy way to do it, because you can do that anywhere and nobody notices, right? It's not one of those things where it's in your face, you're just breathing. You're just breathing, but it's thoughtful breathing, really just calming that breath, making sure that it's not going 100 miles per hour, because that really centers yourself, and it does help you feel better in yourself. The next thing is grounding. So obviously being outside in nature and just taking a time to be really conscious about what you're surrounding yourself with. Are you sat in your bedroom right now? Are you looking at 4 walls? What's on those walls? What can you smell? What can you hear? It's all of these things that really center you back into your body, back into reality. I always find for me that one of the most grounding things, other than going to the beach, because I am obsessed with the beach, if you hadn't realised, is looking at the clouds. It's something I've done since forever. Like since I was a very little girl, I would sit in our conservatory, well, lie down on the conservatory floor actually, and just look out the window at the clouds, and I would watch them as the world like passed by, and I was like, wow, like I'm alive, like I'm a real person, there's life going on around me. Like it definitely helps center you and be like, I guess like no matter what's going on in my life, life is still going on around me, and that really helps to regulate me personally. And another amazing thing is meditation. So this is another one of those things that I do religiously every single evening, and I have paired it with using LED phototherapy as well. So I literally put on a hypnosis meditation, and I literally lay under my Dermalux Flex MD, my little light diode, and I literally have a meditation half an hour every single day, and then it helps me sleep better as well, because I'm already in that really relaxed state where I just drift off to sleep almost like 5 minutes later, and it is the best thing ever. Highly recommend for you to do that. And obviously when there's hypnosis involved as well, that helps kind of rewire your subconscious beliefs about yourself as well, depending on what the hypnosis is about. But I always choose them where they're about like self-confidence, self-worth, becoming and embodying your highest self, all of these things where they just like really get you back to being yourself and coming home to yourself, because at the end of the day, the more authentically you are, the happier that you will be, because you are just the embodiment of everything you love and want then. And that is, I would say that's the secret to life. But having all of these different tools really helps me feel good in myself, really helps me make me feel better about being seen. And that's not to say that, you know, when I do these things, I magically feel like I can just like, I don't know, like stand in front of an audience of 60,000 people and not do anything, just stand there like, and everybody's eyes are on me. Oh, that makes me feel like sick thinking about it. Like that's so weird, but it definitely just helps make it easier. Like when these things come up and I notice these feelings in my body and I can feel that I'm becoming tense, and then I notice my thought patterns are becoming negative about being seen, putting myself out there, you know, going on the radio, walking down the street, walking out the house without makeup on, all of these different things in whatever capacity that they're showing up for you, it just helps make it easier. It helps give me a new focus, because when those things arise, I can be like, okay, I'm going to do some tapping now, you know, and then I'll go through and I'll start with my hand, especially if I'm in public. I can just do it on the karate chop point on the side of my hand, and I can just be like, it's safe to be seen. Even though I'm feeling really insecure in my skin today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm really scared to put myself out there, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And it makes you feel so much better, and you know you're helping yourself. And yeah, it's really important to be able to put these things in action and to be doing something productive to help yourself feel better, because you don't deserve to sit in the uncomfortability of that feeling. So you can bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow, before I go into that radio station, oh scary, that I will be sat in my car doing some tapping about being seen, about putting myself out there, because I am really scared to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway, and that's what makes the difference. So have compassion with yourself, because you deserve to feel good. You deserve to feel amazing. And yeah, I hope that these tools help you. I hope this story helped you. Know that you're just not alone, that there are other people that deal with this too, especially when it comes to feeling insecure in your skin. And it's important to know that progress isn't linear. You're going to have days that are harder than others, but that's okay. That just means that you're human. That doesn't mean you're failing. That literally just means you're living, you're breathing. Like, it's just so normal. It's a part of life, unfortunately, but you will get through this. You'll get through this and you'll feel better, and then you can inspire other people to do the same, and you can help other people to do the same. So yeah, that is what I wanted to talk about with you today. If this resonated with you, my book Unmasking Acne is for you. There is a whole chunky section on emotional healing because my book is broken down into my skin triangle method, where we look at topical, internal, and emotional healing. So obviously, literally a third of Unmasking Acne is about emotional healing. It is about nervous system regulation. It's about some of these tools I've kind of talked about here. I talk a lot about my experience in a lot more detail, and I talk a lot about more rituals and things you can start doing that help yourself in much more detail. So if you want to go check that out, you can go to my website tabithaisabel.com and go find Unmasking Acne. Or if this is past the 15th of September 2025, you can go straight to Amazon and you can type in Unmasking Acne by Tabitha Isabel and it should come up. That is so cool. But I hope you enjoyed and I hope this has resonated with you. If it did, make sure to let me know. You can always tag me on social media. Let me know some of the nervous system regulation tools that you're doing. And I shall see you next week for a brand new episode of Unmasking Skin. I'm your host, Tabitha Isabel. I'm almost a published author, and I will see you next week when I am a published author. Bye.